Formally begin our program with lighting of lamp. Our request to the dignitaries to kindly give a pious beginning to this program with lighting of lamp. Light the lamp of love in your heart, lamp of compassion to serve others, lamp of knowledge to dispel the darkness of ignorance, and lamp of gratitude for abundance that divine has bestowed on us. Light dispels darkness, and when darkness of ignorance within you is dispelled through the light of wisdom, goodness prevails. Thank you so much, dignitaries, for this pious beginning. We would now like to request our dignitaries to kindly come on stage. बच्चों जोरदार तालियों से हमारे अतिथियों का स्वागत करें।
आपकी उत्सुकता बनी हुई है, आज आप इस कार्यक्रम की शोभा है। अब आप बैठ सकते हैं। अब मैं सुधाकर गायकवाड़ सर डीडी साइंस ब्रांच से निवेदन करूंगा कि वो मंच पर आएं और डायरेक्टर एजुकेशन श्री हिमांशु गुप्ता सर को नवांकुर और पेंटिंग देकर उनका स्वागत करें।
A token of warmth, love and appreciation for our guests. We all can welcome them with a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us in this program. You are always a source of motivation for all of us.
स्वागत के इसी क्रम में अब मैं नीलम यादव मैम डीडी डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेंट्रल दिल्ली से निवेदन करूंगा कि वो हमारे आज के विजन क्वेस्ट कार्यक्रम के एक्सपर्ट स्पीकर डॉक्टर ज्योति कुमार सर को टोकन ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट एक प्लांटर और एक पेंटिंग देकर उनका अभिनंदन करें।
Thank you so much, sir. We are all waiting to hear your answers for our questions. We are really glad that our guests of honor have joined us. For welcome address, I would now like to invite respected Deputy Director Science Branch, Sudhakar Gaikwad sir. Sir के लिए एक बार clapping कर दें हम.
सभी को नमस्कार। मैं डॉक्टर सुधाकर गायकवाड़ डिप्टी डायरेक्टर साइंस ब्रांच आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं इस विजन क्वेस्ट में। और डीओई साइंस ब्रांच का ये विजन क्वेस्ट का दूसरा एपिसोड है और इसके लिए जिनकी खास उपस्थिति है, जो हमारे मार्गदर्शक है, प्रेरणा स्रोत है और बेहद ही डीओई के लोकप्रिय हमारे वर्दी डायरेक्टर सर, परम आदरणीय शिक्षा निदेशक आदरणीय हिमांशु गुप्ता सर का हम बहुत बहुत स्वागत करते हैं और आप सभी सर का तालियों से स्वागत करेंगे जोर से। इसी के साथ आज के स्पेशल गेस्ट और जिनका हम सब सब्र से इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं, और आप जानते हैं कि जो दिल्ली के आईआईटी में प्रोफेसर है, ऐसे प्रोफेसर ज्योति कुमार सर जो हमारे साथ हैं, उनका भी हम तालियों से स्वागत करते हैं। डीओई के ओर से सर आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है इस विजन क्विज 2 में। सभी जानते हैं कि विजन क्विज 2 का ये प्रोग्राम है और ये पहल है हमारे आदरणीय शिक्षा निदेशक सर की। उन्होंने ये प्लेटफॉर्म उन बच्चों के लिए बनाया है जो कुछ करना चाहते हैं, जो कुछ सुनना चाहते हैं और आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं। ये उनके लिए खुला मंच है और इस मंच का पहला एपिसोड सर के मार्गदर्शन में हुआ था। और मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि हमें जो फीडबैक मिला, पहला जो एपिसोड हमने किया था उसमें से एक बच्चे ने हमें लेटर लिखा और कई बच्चे ने मेल भी किए। उसमें से एक बच्चे का लेटर हमें बड़ा प्रभावित किया। ये बच्चा था राधे श्याम पार्क के गवर्नमेंट स्कूल का, उसका नाम है आस्तिक नारायण और वो 12th कक्षा का स्टूडेंट था। उसने लिखा कि जब हमने विजन क्विस्ट का पहला एपिसोड देखा, मैं डायरेक्टर सर का से इतना मोटिवेट हुआ हूँ, इतना इंस्पायर हुआ हूँ, और उसका जो छोटा भाई था वो भी बहुत इंस्पायर हुआ। और वो बच्चा पता है, जेई एडवांस का जो अभी रिज़ल्ट आया है, जेई मेंस का, उसका डीओई का सबसे टॉपर बच्चा था और वो सर का फॉलोअर है। तो ये विजन क्विस्ट का इतना इम्पैक्ट है। और डीओई में अब ये हम दूसरा विजन क्विस्ट करने जा रहे। इस उपलक्ष्य पे हमारे साथ जो डीडी एग्ज़ाम है, डॉक्टर संजय सुभाष कुमार सर, इस ज़िले के उप शिक्षा निदेशक रिस्पेक्टेड नीलम यादव मैडम, डीडी जोन डॉक्टर कापरी मैडम, हमारे साथ ओएसडी डॉक्टर पांडे जी, हमारे साइंस ब्रांच के ओएसडी के दुबे जी, और हमारे सभी जो टीम है साइंस की, नई उड़ान की, यहाँ प्रेजेंट है। मैं बहुत बहुत सबका स्वागत करता हूँ और धन्यवाद देता हूँ हमारे डायरेक्टर सर को कि ये नई पहल आगे बहुत कुछ बच्चों को सिखाएंगी। और हमारे साथ आज जो यहाँ स्पेशल गेस्ट के रूप में प्रेजेंट है, ये डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिज़ाइन आईआईटी दिल्ली में सर कार्यरत है और सर का स्पेशलाइजेशन जो है डिज़ाइन का है, यूएक्स लैब, इनोवेशन लैब और डिवाइन डिज़ाइन। इसके अलावा हमने डिज़ाइन के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ा ना सुना है, बट आज आप सभी बच्चे इसको सुनने वाले हैं। डिज़ाइन क्या होती है, उसका फ्यूचर प्रॉस्पेक्ट क्या है, और हम फॉलो करेंगे सर की जर्नी को आज, क्योंकि सर का एरिया इतना वास्ट है। सर का नेशनल लेवल कमिटीज़ में सर का पार्टिसिपेशन है, नेशनल लेवल के बुक्स जो लिखते हैं उसमें सर का पार्टिसिपेशन है। आप जानते हैं मीडिया, आर्ट डिज़ाइन, एनिमेशन, ये कई इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्ट डिज़ाइन, तो ये सभी दायरे डिज़ाइन के हैं। तो सर से हम रूबरू आज होंगे। सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और सर आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। हमारे दोनों जो इमिनेंट स्कॉलर्स आज हमारे साथ है और आज हम उनको फॉलो करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच। और आगे इंटरेक्शन के लिए मैं हमारे टीम के मेंबर भावना जी और नील जी इनको सौंप रहा हूँ। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। कहते हैं जिज्ञासा की जमीन पर जीवन के अनेक रंग खिलते हैं। किसी भी विषय को समझने के लिए, जानने के लिए सबसे ज़रूरी भूमिका जिज्ञासा की होती है। हम कह सकते हैं हमारा सारा ज्ञान और सारी योग्यताएं जिज्ञासा का ही परिणाम है। नासा के मशहूर एस्ट्रोफिजिस्ट नील ड्रैगस टाइसन ने कहा था, बच्चे जन्म से ही वैज्ञानिक होते हैं। उनके मन में हजारों सवाल और आसपास हर चीज़ को जानने की जिज्ञासा होती है, लेकिन समय के साथ साथ उनकी एक क्षमता कम होने लगती है। जिन विद्यार्थियों में जिज्ञासा बनी रहती है, उनमें स्वतः एक वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण, अपने आसपास की घटनाओं को अलग तरीके से देखने का नज़रिया पैदा होता है। हम कह सकते हैं जिज्ञासा एक सुपर पावर की तरह है। इसका सही और पर्याप्त उपयोग विद्यार्थियों के जीवन में कई रास्ते खोल सकता है। विजन क्वेस्ट ऐसा ही एक मंच है जहां पर विद्यार्थियों के मन में उठ रहे तमाम सवालों के जवाब उन्हीं के रोल मॉडल्स, एक्सपर्ट्स की भूमिका में देते हैं। आप सबको याद होगा विजन क्वेस्ट के पहले एपिसोड में एक्सपर्ट की भूमिका में डायरेक्टर एजुकेशन हिमांशु सर खुद थे। विजन क्वेस्ट के दूसरे एपिसोड में एक बार फिर आप सभी के मार्गदर्शन और ज्ञान प्रवाह के लिए हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं डायरेक्टर एजुकेशन हिमांशु सर, और आज के हमारे एक्सपर्ट स्पीकर हैं डॉक्टर ज्योति कुमार सर, आईआईटी दिल्ली डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिज़ाइन में एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर के रूप में काम कर रहे हैं। इससे पहले हम विजन क्वेस्ट के दूसरे एपिसोड की शुरुआत करें, एक बार जोरदार तालियों से अभिनंदन करें सर का। और मुझे पता है बहुत देर से, बल्कि कई दिनों से आप लोग प्रतीक्षा कर रहे थे इस संवाद की। आपके मन में बहुत सारे सवाल हैं और उन सब सवालों का जवाब एक एक करके आपको यहाँ से मिलेगा। तो आइए देरी किए बिना शुरू करते हैं विजन क्वेस्ट प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत और अपने सवाल जवाब का सिलसिला। सबसे पहले कौन पूछेगा?
A very warm greetings to both the dignitaries. I am Suhana from Sarvodaya Kanya Vidyalaya, Malviya Nagar. My question is to Jyoti sir. Sir, I would like to ask you about your experience as an IIT teacher. What does your day-to-day look like?
Thank you, Suhana, and my namaste to all of you. I hope it will be better if I stand a little bit. Before I try to attempt, why don't you have a seat? Before I attempt to answer your question, I want to give a disclaimer. Whatever I'll try to answer, it may not make sense to you, and forgive me, okay? Because I'm not used to talking to young minds, you know? And so I'll try to share my perspective, and whatever I share may not be an answer for you that you're seeking. But my attempt is to give you some thought so that you can reflect upon, because I think that's why Sir has organized this. All of us as individuals are thinking systems. And my thought and your thoughts are two different entities, okay? So we need to respect that, right? So but the journey of the mind is to know. And if someone ever figures out something that you're trying to know, one of the signs is that you become silent and more silent, you know? So when you choose to be a teacher, and I would love more people to choose that as a job, because just to further this attitude of inquiry. As a student, you think that whatever is written in the book is knowledge. And as you will grow up, you'll come to a point where you'll start thinking somebody has created that knowledge which is in the book. And then you start questioning what is there in the book. And then you start finding newer knowledges and create newer books for the future students. So being a teacher is that acceptance that we are very small when you look at this creation. We don't know as of now who we are. Science hasn't yet figured it out of why this biological system exists. Why does it get a certain thought? And what is this planet Earth going around the sun, and why is this whole solar system existing? We don't know, right? We have some idea. So as you grow up in knowledge, you become more and more humble, and you are more comfortable saying, I don't know. So to me, the life of a teacher, I don't know whether again I have answered your question, but it's about discovering how many things I don't know and being okay with it. You know, instead of saying I know when I actually don't know. And that
support you, making you a true gem.
So to you? We don't know about being a true gem. That is a difficult thing, but I can only share with you my experience, okay? I could truly appreciate my parents the day I became a father. When I was holding my kid, I was like, this is how I looked. This is how I was when I was born. You know, helpless. We couldn't have survived if our parents wouldn't have taken care of us when we were born, right? So that's the greatest help our parents have given. And once we realize we ourselves alone cannot function, we need support. We need our parents to help us. And we are always thankful to that. Now, beyond that, parents will have their own expectations. They will put in their own efforts. And there's nothing called a perfect parent. It's nothing called a perfect child. And many times you will find faults with the way they have been dealing with you. Many times you find faults, they find faults with the way you are growing up as a child, and that's all fine. The point is that we need them, and we should try our best, and that's what I think I have tried to do. Try my best. How can I serve them back? For what they have done for me, it's enormous, right? And the same thing today, when you are benefiting from society, from your teachers, from everybody around, if you're able to inculcate that feeling that I have to serve back, I have to give what I've received, then I think that's what makes us, be honest with ourselves. I can lie to you very easily. I cannot lie to myself. And once I start being true to myself, and I say that, yes, I am indebted. Like Sir was speaking so beautifully that as a child, you're naturally inquisitive. You're naturally looking at things with open mind. You cannot be dishonest with yourself. But slowly, as Sir said, we start taking shortcuts. We start finding ways in which, with lesser effort, we can get more respect, more acceptance, and so on. And then slowly we don't realize when things start slipping off. So if you feel that we have been able to do a little justice, I guess it's more about being honest in every moment, isn't it? Thank you.
I would just like to add that our parents try to do maximum for us to give us the best education, best of the facilities to their own capabilities. And what I consider myself lucky is that they, in my initial years, they trained me, and I got good habits from my family, like waking up early, and obviously daily going to school, coming back, doing my homework, and also having a bit of play time, and then talking to my family and friends. So I think that is very, very important, that I got a very good, decent childhood. And every parent tries to give his or her best. It's on us now that how we take it and how we grow. आजकल जैसे digital age बहुत ज़्यादा है, so बहुत सारे distractions हैं. So वो उस चीज़ को हम कैसे avoid कर सकें और उसको कैसे channelize कर सकें, I think that is very, very important these days, because you have everybody is on media, there are social medias and other things. So sometimes as students you get distracted, and there's so much flow of information, you don't know what to take and what to avoid. So I think आज के टाइम में बड़ा ज़रूरी है पेरेंट्स के लिए भी कि वो बच्चों को ढंग से गाइड भी करें एज अ फ्रेंड, एज अ मेंटोर, कि क्या सही है और क्या गलत है, और बच्चे भी इस चीज़ को रियलाइज़ करें कि हमारे लिए क्या सही है और क्या गलत है. थैंक यू.
तो आपके सवाल का जवाब बहुत ही शानदार तरीके से आया है. पहला इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट कि हम अपने पेरेंट्स के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं, ये महत्वपूर्ण है. और दूसरा, उनकी बातें सुननी बहुत ज़रूरी हैं. सर जैसा बता रहे हैं कि बहुत कुछ आजकल क्या नहीं करना है, हमें सबसे पहले पेरेंट्स से ही पता चलता है. तो बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले सवाल की तरफ. अगला सवाल कौन पूछ रहा है?
Good morning, respected dignitaries. Myself Navya Garg, and I am from Sarvodaya Vidyalaya Sector 9, Rohini. And my question is for Jyoti sir. Sir, looking back at your career so far, what are the proudest accomplishments or moments of success, and what do you wish to achieve in future?
It's a little difficult to exactly say the proudest and accomplishments, but let me share, after going through the JEE exam, and I think sir has also been through that journey. It's a very demanding journey, and you have to make a choice, what direction you want to take your life to. The first design branch started at IIT Guwahati, and it was a difficult decision. I said, I will take this. Because even at that age, I was thinking hard about what would be the future of the world, and all of you would be thinking, And I made that choice of design, and we were in the first batch of the BDES. It so happened that during my education, I realized that I can be a good teacher. And I made that choice by about second or third year of my BDES, and I said, okay, I want to do my PhD, because that also becomes a requirement. So then I became the first PhD in the country in design, in the, in the sense of a structured program. And then I was in industry for some time, then I moved to IIT Delhi, and only a couple of years ago we successfully created a new department, and the Department of Design. But honestly speaking, I won't consider anything of all of this is an accomplishment, because again, I said that the mind produces thoughts, and that's what has been my main inquiry, that how do we get thoughts, and why do we have certain experiences? Okay, that's what I study. And now we are using neurophysiology to study why different people have different kinds of orientations, and how education can shape that. So I think that if a painter decides that let me have a good picture of a painting in my mind before I start painting, he or she will never make a painting. So what do? You pick up a canvas and you put some colors, and then you reflect, and then you put some more colors, then you reflect, and the painting and you are literally negotiating with each other, and then you are developing something. So treat this life as that canvas, and some thoughts you get, you put a few strokes of color, and then you reflect where it is going, and you put some more strokes, and then a painting comes out. And some people appreciate, wow, kya painting hai. Some people say, pata nahi kya kar raha hai, iska koi theek nahi. But what you did is, you expressed yourself based on what you felt. The only point, I'll repeat what I said earlier, is that you're honest in that moment to put that stroke. You're not trying to impress anybody. You're not afraid of people laughing at you. But then the thought process, sir pointed a very important thing, is not distracted thought. I mean, आपको मालूम है कि इतना टाइम वो कंप्यूटर पे लगाना ठीक नहीं है, but आप लगा रहे हो और आप उसको justify कर रहे हो. As long as you can. So eventually it is personal. So I think in terms of accomplishments, what happens in life and we call as accomplishment is actually an outcome of very long duration of things that you kept on doing. Now, as far as going forward, same attempt I would like to keep, because it helps us keep ourselves free of ego. When we meet people who are taking lots of initiatives for everybody, and when you meet them, you can see the fragrance from their personality. Oh, there is no ego. There is no that sense of accomplishment. That word somewhere is misleading. The truth is, I mean, if you allow me, I would like to go back to this book called Bhagavad Gita. And nowadays it's out of fashion to talk about these books, but some time ago people used to. And this is what Arjuna is perplexed about. That, am I going to kill people for this war? And his charioteer is telling him, no, nimitta matram bhava sabya sachi. And that, I think, was the backbone of our Indian culture. You become a nimitta. Nimitta means you are just an agency through which this creation is functioning. Mother is conceiving the child, but she's actually not accomplishing a child. She's becoming a nimitta. Student is growing, say suppose I say something and you learn something, and tomorrow I say, see my accomplishment, I taught her. This is not true, no. I'm just sharing what I believe in this moment could probably help you, but what you become of it is again not my accomplishment. So I think that sense of agency, let me be honest in this moment, let me act, and that's what I've felt is what makes great people great. They were not really thinking of a painting, just think over it. Look at great personalities, whoever inspires you, So accomplishment you asked, so I shared these, but then I'll also share with you that the whole model of accomplishment, and I have to reach there, creates unnecessary stress in you. It will bring down your performance. I hope, yeah.
तो
सर का जवाब मिल गया है। सर ने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से हमें बताया कि ईमानदार प्रयास करते हुए हम अपना काम आगे करते रहें, अपने आप एकम्प्लिशमेंट्स या जहाँ भी हम जाना चाहते हैं पहुँच जाएंगे। तो बढ़ते हैं अगले सवाल की तरफ।
Good morning, respected dignitaries. I am Muskan from SKV Malvinagar School. So my question is to Himanshu Gupta sir. So you were initially an IITian and now you are also an IAS officer. So please can you tell that how should one evaluate oneself before deciding engineering or civil services as a career?
That's a very challenging question. You know, sometimes what happens, frankly speaking, मैं IIT में इसलिए गया क्योंकि my father used to teach me mathematics and I had interest in mathematics. और country में एक ही चीज़ होता था, if you are good in science, you should go to IITs. So I took coaching, I started studying for IITs, I went to IIT. But then I realized while doing my engineering, I was doing mechanical engineering, that perhaps engineering में मेरा उतना interest नहीं है. Even though pure sciences में मेरा interest था, but somehow हमारी country के अंदर pure sciences को अभी उतना ज़्यादा, especially mathematics, I really like mathematics, but मैं engineering side में जब गया तो मुझे लगा नहीं यार, I like mathematics but not this mechanical engineering. Third year के अंदर I started reading newspapers, a lot of newspapers, and the Hindu was one of them. तो वहाँ पे बहुत सारे society के issues और social perspectives पे बहुत सारी चीज़ें आई थी और मैंने फिर एक NGO भी ज्वाइन करी जहाँ पे मैंने पढ़ाना स्टार्ट किया बच्चों को INA हौस खास के पास. Then I realized that I have to do something for society. And from there, that mindset came कि I must prepare for civil services. And I think so far it has been a wonderful journey. And being Director Education, I think this is the most satisfying thing that I am doing because I am able to spend time with so many students. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring us. It is often said that what comes easy won't last, and what lasts won't come easy. So who's going to ask the next question?
A very good morning to both the dignitaries. Myself, Ayush Kumar Singh from GVSSS number 3, Sarojini Nagar. My question is to you, Jyoti sir. Since you are a professor at IIT and you must have met brilliant minds at IIT. Sir, I wanted to know what do you find different in them as compared to others?
I think that's a very good question because I'll also invite sir to add to it because he also has a good experience. So there's some jokes that you crack with them, you can't crack with other minds. I mean, that's where I'll start with because these people who are making into IIT are people who are not distracted. They have focused themselves. They have had that capacity to, for a long time, look at something deeply, intellectual, and process it, right? So those characters, what will be there in them? You can imagine about it. So these people will be focused. They will have an attention capacity. They can look at something and make sense of it. But that is something that all human beings have. It's just that some are using it, okay? There's one more thing that I've noticed, I don't know whether Sal will agree, is that these characters are very open to listen to new things. They will not form a judgment beforehand. This is what excites me because I was also in charge of student activities as a BRCA president at IIT Delhi. So 6 rendezvous is what I was heading and all the cultural activities of students. And many of my colleagues used to say, Jyoti, you're compromising on your research and you'll not be able to give as much time to your lab. But I just love being with the students for this reason, that this ability of these students to do good in studies, but also have an emotional intelligence to work in groups. And that to me is the possibility for the society. Like say suppose if you are in IIT, people put up t-shirts, and especially when they go home, and they like to show IIT Delhi, and everybody in the society respects them. And I used to stop them and ask the question, Why do people respect you? What is it? Because you're intelligent, so then you can be dangerous also to society, no? Because intelligent people also become the most notorious people, right?
Yes, sir.
It's the potential in the person to bring some positive changes in the society for which society respects.
Yes, sir.
You know? And for that, these students, I will say majority of them, if you meet them, you can see the fragrance in their personality. What is it there? Is like, first confidence आ जाता है कि मैंने तो जेई क्लियर कर लिया, मतलब अब समाज का प्रेशर थोड़ा परिवार का भी कम हो गया. Then they can celebrate it a little bit more. Then they can think about things which is higher, which so far was not possible, you know. And that I say is one good thing that happens with the IIT students. They get an ambience, they get freedom, they get enablement, and most of them make good use of it. I mean, example is here on the stage, right?
Thank you, sir.
So, a very clear message, your focus determines your reality. तो अगला सवाल किसकी तरफ है?
Good morning, everybody. Myself, Ishita Dabas from NC Jindal Public School. My question is addressed to Jyoti sir. Sir, how do we study human experiences at the UX lab? Do you think a field like this could provide jobs for the youth in the future so that we can have young entrepreneurs with a brighter future for our country, India? Thank you.
Yeah. For this question, I would like to invite you to my class one day. Because this is what we discuss, you know. This is my topic, user experience design. I'll give a little brief for the audience who do not know much about what is this user experience design. The word user experience, we all know. You experience the world in a certain way. Every technological product, like sir is using his camera, he has learned how to use it. And then it gives him a certain experience while using it. Your mobile phone is a product that you use because some apps give you better experience than other apps. Some mobile phones give better experience. Some chairs give better experience. Okay? Now, so user experience in that sense is like, how is a technological product impacting a human being? What is the experience it is producing? Some of these experiences could be just at the level of comfort you're feeling sitting on the chair, or ease with which he's able to rotate the camera. It's a very utilitarian. There could be some which is purely psychological. मैं तो front row में बैठा हूँ. It's an experience you're getting. और the chair का backrest बड़ा बना दिया. उसमें थोड़ा decoration ऐसा किया कि आपको feel लग रहा है कि मैं तो अब कुछ हो गया. Just because of the chair you're sitting in. Okay? That's the design aspect of any technological product. So ease of use, efficiency, effectiveness, sense of cultural belonging, there are these aspects. So it's a human-centered approach to technological product, where the human is at the center. Technology is an enabler. Technology-centered approach to a product is that we explore what this technology can do for human. A human-centered approach to technology is we look at what problems of humans need to be solved and how it can be solved. Okay, these are two different approaches. Now, at my lab in the Department of Design, IIT Delhi, we are trying to study the neurophysiological aspects of human experience, which means neurons. I'm almost feeling like my classroom now, but forgive me, you can stop. You'll just appear bored and I'll stop, okay? So, our human biological system communicates internally through two mechanisms. One through the blood streams and the other through the neural channel. So neurons touch and then you feel this is, I'm touching, because there's an electrical connectivity going to your brain. So you sense. And all five senses communicate through electrical connectivities. So here there is bloodstream. Certain hormones get released and you feel excited. Through that, communication happens. So emotions are more felt. Munna Bhai MBBS, movie to dekha hoga? Chemical locha. It actually happens, right? That chemical changes in our bloodstreams create a certain mood, certain feeling, okay? So our human experience therefore are a product of these two communications going within. So if we want to study, like we just lit the lamp here, and ma'am was saying from darkness to light, and that's why we light it up. This is a cultural phenomenon, a cultural ritual, which has certain experiential value. And this was designed by somebody, right? Like somebody has designed that ritual of we entering into the school and the bagpiper playing and the tilak happening, all of that, right? It's a design to make us feel in a certain way. It's an experience design. And it makes us feel like, oh my God, these two are doing so much for me. It'll have an effect on me, okay? Somebody has to plan this whole thing, right? So how does it influence our brain? So we use our EEGs and show different kind of stimuli. Like recently we published a very interesting finding that when we show the stimuli of plants, our attentional capacity improves. So if you have more trees within the campus and some elements of plants within the classrooms, then your actual academic performance may improve. So if you feel disturbed, and you know, that's why I often go back to the ancient knowledge that India had. We don't know how, but somehow, without any laboratories, our ancient rishis had a much better understanding of what this human system is. And today the whole world is recognizing in forms of, say, yoga as a way of health. More than physical health, the mental health. Less agitations, less depressions. And of course, there's a whole science of yoga of how when you bend your body in a certain way, a certain kind of chemicals that were stored in a certain endocrine gland, they get stretched. I mean, that's what is being studied to it. Coming back, I often go back to them, that as a source of knowledge. And that's where, if you visit my website, I have written something called yogic neuroscience or yogic neurodesign. So I'm increasingly realizing that the models of the modern science to understand human experiences are slightly inadequate. We are not able to explain. How do we explain? So I'm using those also and combining with our brain research, like I shared, like biophilic research and products that we create, we test them out with people, like screen-based. So sometimes some websites, tourism websites, and we can do an experiment on them, and I can understand whether this person will come for Delhi as a tourism place or not. In fact, sir, this time in SOSC, this whole year of 11th, we are looking at this tourism. That's where this example came up. That if I want world to see in Delhi as a place of 5,000 years of continuous civilization, where we have artifacts for such a long time, how do we design our websites, our apps, our artifacts, even tickets, you know, products? When you reach that place, what kind of chairs, tables, what kind of gifts? So I don't know whether I made sense. I went all over the place, but just I'm trying to share with you that this is a science of creating experiences in people, and it's a very deep science. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. In fact, sir, like you rightly said that, you know, plants actually help in focusing in academics. And that is why our science branch is coming up with a new initiative of Green Awards, in which we are going to award schools who are having green classrooms and greenery in schools. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing. So who's going to ask the next question?
Greetings, everyone. Respected Himanshu sir, Jyoti sir, teachers, and my dear friends. I am Khushbu from Bal Bhavan Public School, Mayur Vihar, Phase 2. I'm really glad for this opportunity to phrase my question in such an auspicious gathering. My question is for both the dignitaries, and I want to ask that being a teacher is an amazing feeling, as you say. And you are making children learn something new each and every day. But what is that one precious lesson that you have learned from any of your students in your entire teaching career?
You want to take?
It will take some time.
Okay. Okay. It's not one. Every student teaches us some precious lesson. And if I sum up in one sentence, it is like, it's not possible for one person to know all. Each one of you are a unique person, right? In certain aspects, I may know more than you because I've spent more years and read all of that. So, every student teaches something. As long as the student is not trying to bluff. If you are honestly read something and you come up, you're going to teach me something. Because today, with the age of artificial intelligence, and I was discussing with one of my colleagues the other day, that the greatest benefit of artificial intelligence that is going to be there is human intelligence will start accepting its limitations. For last 1 million years that we have been here on planet Earth, we have thought ourselves to be superior. हमने सोचा कि planet Earth तो हमारा ही है, हम चाहे जैसे यूज करें, है ना? अब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ये हम सबको डेली बेसिस पे रियलाइज कराएगा, यू आर नॉट सो इंटेलिजेंट. दिस इज अ हम्बलिंग थिंग, एंड आई थिंक दिस इज द मोस्ट नीडेड फॉर आवर सोसाइटी टुडे, because we are destroying this beautiful setup that we have been given because of our belief that we are intelligent. When we are creating anything, we are creating guns, right? And we are creating all kinds of chemicals which is killing our earth. So I think student teaches us that I don't know everything. And in today's world of internet and artificial intelligence, they sometimes have more knowledge than us. So, and our roles therefore have changed now. When I joined my IIT, at that time, we used to take notes and professors will fill the blackboard. And those notes were important, precious, because I'll pass the exam based on how I have understood or probably memorized those notes. Today, it's out of the window. I mean, I am teaching, and so is a Harvard professor teaching, and so is an Oxford professor teaching, and so is everybody else teaching. It's all there on the YouTube. So my notes are not important anymore. The topic is important. So I become more of a facilitator in the educational setup. I facilitate my students' learning. So, sir, I evaluate some of my students not on the answers they write, but the questions they write. So I flipped it. I said, you come up with the question for the class and I'll evaluate the quality of your question. Now that's tougher, right? For you to think of a smart question, you'll have to really think hard. Answers, you just have to go and search Google. So, yeah, so every student teaches, yeah.
Very well noted, sir. Thank you so much.
As far as my experience is concerned, I have seen that मैं एक क्लास में जब गया था, so mathematics पढ़ाया जा रहा था, and teacher was teaching them about radius and other things, and entire class was feeling bored. So and a lot of students were not paying attention also. So I just asked the students, अच्छा ये बताओ बच्चों कि क्यों मतलब क्या करना चाहते हो, and I started interacting with them, and then suddenly we started a quiz. Okay, किसकी bottle का radius सबसे छोटा है, and I still remember then I asked them कि किसका सबसे छोटा circle यहाँ कौन सा दिख रहा है, and I had never imagined कि students कितने ज़्यादा suddenly active हो जाते हैं, and one of the child went to the smallest screw on the door. And he said, sir, it has got the smallest radius. So what I learned was that, students are very inquisitive in nature. They want to, learn. It's just the way as teachers, if we, use those ways, including them in all activities and having a two-way interaction, then each and every child can learn. It's just, it depends upon the teacher, how he, takes the class. Yeah,
definitely, sir. Thank you.
सर, जब भी किसी क्लास को ऑब्जर्व करते हैं तो सर का पहला ध्यान बच्चों की तरफ ही होता है, और अभी आपने देखा कि सर ने पिछले 1 साल के दौरान बहुत सारे ऐसे इनिशिएटिव्स स्कूलों में लागू करवाए हैं जहां पे बच्चे लीडर्स की भूमिका में आए. ये हमेशा से सर के साथ जब भी कभी बात होती है तो सर हमेशा ये कहते हैं कि स्कूल का काम सिर्फ कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ाने तक ही सीमित नहीं है, हमें बच्चे लीडर्स के तौर पे चाहिए. और आज आपके जो सवाल हैं सर के उस 1 साल के जो लगातार कार्यक्रम चलाए जा रहे हैं उसका परिणाम है, और आपके सवालों से ज्योति सर भी बहुत खुश होंगे. तो बढ़ते हैं अगले सवाल की तरफ. कौन पूछेगा?
A very pleasant good morning to respected guests. This is me, Suhani Anand, from SKV Piragadi village. My question is from Jyoti Kumar, sir. Sir, your online presence has a running theme of Divine Mother. So all I want to know is that how spirituality defines your day-to-day existence.
Oh my God. Yes, it's true that as I've been sharing that I was trying to understand myself and what is it that I am, and that started when I went to IIT Guwahati a little bit more intensely, and because I used to get a lot of personal time, and I'm an avid reader, so I used to read lots and lots of books, and so in the process I started discovering there's a whole body of knowledge which existed, and it's not part of the curriculum, it's not part of the classroom discussions, but I felt them as very interesting. So I was reading Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Vivekananda, and a lot of that, and somehow those books were landing up in my room. I don't know how. That was also, a coincidence. One friend gifted me on my birthday this Ramakrishna Paramahansa's book. I was astounded by the kind of knowledge that person had, and I'm from design, so I was understanding. So I started investing time more and more into it. And it so happened that my first job after my PhD was in Pondicherry. And there I came across Aurobindo's literature. And Aurobindo was a freedom fighter, and he had very deeply thought about our nation, its culture, its development. And I came across certain people who were living a very integral life. I mean, they have done this experiment of very sustainable planet. How do we create jobs within that sustainable planet? So those models were very appealing to me. And now I'm also associated at IIT Delhi with a center called National Resource Center for Value Education and Engineering. So this center exists there as an academic center, and I'm part of Department of Design, but I participate with them. So there I have taken a few PhD students, and we are doing, I don't know how others will take it, but we are studying this aspect of the ancient spiritual knowledge that India had. In fact, yoga, Ayurveda, and all of these different branches of knowledge which today West is admiring has come out of that spiritual perspective of life. That this body is not, in fact, I was happily surprised when National Education Policy 2020 is creating a model of the 5 sheaths of body, and I'm saying education is not just for the physical. And then, so Taittiriya Upanishad had this model of the human body, and it says there is an Annamaya Kosha, which is fed by the Anna, so the physical body, including the brain, everything. Behind that is Manomaya Kosha. Behind that is Pranamaya Kosha, Prana. We say this person's, its prana is gone, which means the life force. Life force. And behind that is mana, mind. And then behind that is the Vijnana, which is the buddhi. And behind that is the, what you call as, Anandamaya Kosha. So this holistic look at life, that my mind affects my body. The day I am disturbed, my digestion suffers. That is the ancient model. Today we haven't yet found that link. And so on, So for me, spirituality is not like an escapism from life. For me, it's a scientific body of knowledge trying to understand life. We have lost that science today. And I deeply feel that if you could bring it back, at least one good thing will happen to our world is that people will be happier.
Exactly, sir.
Yep. Because chasing material, just the Annamaya level, is not going to make us happy. Happiness is at the mind level. I think I'll stop here because...
Sir, very well stated. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for guiding us and telling us about the 5 sheets of life. So it is said that be happy, not because everything is good, but because you can see the good side of everything. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing. So who would like to ask our next question?
Oh, very good morning, sir. I am Om Kumar from RPVV Sector 19, Dwarka. My question is for... Hello. Yeah. My question is for both the respected dignitaries. Sir, in India, there are lakhs of persons with disabilities. How can we motivate and skill the persons with disabilities? Is there any research or project in this field? Thank you.
This question is for whom? I forgot.
Sir, for both the dignitaries.
Both. Okay. No, it's a very important point that you have raised. In fact, The persons with disabilities have the major problem is that we are telling them that you are a person with a disability. And that hurts. Just imagine the day, for some reason, you're not having your best day, and people unnecessarily start empathizing with you. We need to treat them as everybody else. First thing is that there is nothing, different. Again, I'll come back to that model. Annamay Kosha is only different. No, rest everything is same. So a little bit, and we have been discriminating on various bases. Which just by understanding that everybody is same, that gets settled. Next is technology has a great role to play to enable them in their disabilities. And a lot of products today and a lot of research is going on. I am not leading one, but I know there are assistive technology lab at IIT Delhi, which has come up with sensor-based products that can help, depending on the kind of disabilities, that kind of a sensor, because all the disabilities are related to some sensor or some actuator. Sensor actuator is the term sir may be more familiar with, So then it's possible with technology that we can help them live better. Specialized jobs for PWDs, that is something that I think all governments are trying to do. That how do we identify types of jobs that would fit with a certain kind of disability. That is going on. Special skilling, training. I've also done some impact assessment studies of PWD trainings that has happened pan-India. So I'm aware of those. So I think this is a mix. But first thing, my feeling is that we should stop looking at them as different. Yeah.
I think, you must have heard about a lot of great examples, people with these special abilities, special needs, I should say, people with special needs who have performed wonderfully well. Stephen Hawking, as we all know, that he is one of the greatest scientists of our time. And then if we talk about, you must have heard about Helen Keller and Anne Sullivan. Helen Keller was deaf, dumb and blind, and how her teacher Anne Sullivan used to teach her through various body parts. She taught her, and she is one of the greatest authors of past era. So I think yes, there are people with special needs. They face challenges in day-to-day life in our society. But as a society, we all have to work to bring them in mainstream. Now they are being brought in mainstream through various initiatives, like we are having last week we had para sports events where we had a lot of games like wheelchair races, wheelchair basketball, and even the team that I saw, the wheelchair basketball team, that was much better than what I can play. So I can very well tell that it depends upon, obviously when God takes something from you, it gives you something special also. So I think society is also doing a lot, and we all have to understand, as students also, we have to understand, appreciate and empathize with the people who are requiring these special needs.
Thank you so much, sir.
Very rightly said. किसी ने कहा है, हो सकता है कोई व्यक्ति अपने आँखों का इस्तेमाल करने में सक्षम ना हो, बट ये ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उस व्यक्ति के अंदर विज़न नहीं होगा. हमें अपने नज़रिए को बदलने की ज़रूरत है. हमें सिंपैथी की जगह, हमें उस व्यक्ति की जगह खुद रख के उसकी योग्यताओं के साथ हमें सीखने की ज़रूरत है. तो आगे बढ़ते हैं. अगला सवाल.
Good morning, respected dignitaries. Good morning, respected dignitaries. I am Kashish Verma from School of Excellence, Khichadipur. Sir, it is found that over 80% of all the environmental related impacts of a product are determined during the design phase. So my question to you, Jyoti sir, is, do you think sustainability and product designing can go hand in hand?
Brilliant question. I'm very happy that young minds like yours are thinking about it, because every generation has its own challenges. And human beings have been here on this planet for 1 million years. So if we go back, say suppose 10,000 years, we didn't have this question, this sustainability thing, because we were only worried at that time, like, how will we get our food? How will we, quench our thirst? But today's generation has to think about it. In fact, Sustainable Development Goals that United Nations has given, those 17 of them, I'm sure you would have got introduced to them. Many of them are related to products and their businesses. Technology is an enabler of a human wish. And you know what drives human wish? Laziness. Sorry? And if you look at the need, most of those needs are arising out of your laziness. Your pleasure-seeking method in a lazy way is driving your behavior. You want to have maximum pleasure with minimum effort, right? And the technologies which sell more are the ones which make you lazier and give you more pleasure, right? So in this process, we have played with our planet and its ecosystem in a way which is not leaving enough for the future generations, and that's what is the problem. So if you start thinking about it in detail, of if I choose a certain material or a certain product, processes of the product. So there is a couple of PhDs that I have been involved with where we have looked into this whole ecosystem approach to a product design, and say from conceiving of the material for the product to its packaging, to its display, to its consumption, to its afterlife. The whole, and this is what the designer's role is, that you design this product in a certain way. Now, today, companies are designing products so that they become useless in a few years. Designed for obsolescence, so that you have to buy next product so that I can make more money. So the business model is I kill the earth for me to profit. And we have plenty of those. Chahe likho feko pen ho, chahe use and throw mobile phones ho. And there's somebody like us who's thinking of those business models. कोई तो सोच रहा है, किसी को फायदा हो रहा है तभी तो वो कर रहा है उसको. तो there are policies which administrators create, but to implement those policies, even in your classroom, you start thinking about what goes into dustbin and what goes into reuse. There are aspirational values of it, the culture of it. Luckily, Indian culture, if you look at it, it has been very sustainable culture. हम लोग में से तो कहीं फेंकना ही नहीं चाहते कुछ, इसका कुछ और बना लेते हैं, कुछ और. But as affluence is increasing, companies are encouraging, the consumption mindset. So that is one thing. And on the other side, you want to take less pain of doing it because of laziness. So it's an ecosystem approach. It cannot be just a technology approach. It's like from culture to material to process to business. All of this is part of it. So in design, we do train our students. We have courses. In fact, now that's a mandatory course for most of the higher academic institutions to take. In design, we have special focus on that. But there is no magic solution. I mean, if as a young student, you're thinking that I'll do some magic, it will change, I would warn you that real life ecosystems are pretty complicated. And people who come with that mindset, I'll change the world, get frustrated very fast. But if you develop that stamina that I am going to work for it no matter what happens, I'm going to spend my life like this, then we have a surety of a change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, as we have learned from your answer is that proper use of science is not to conquer nature. It is to live in it. So, thank you. So, who's going to ask the next question?
Respected chairs, I am Prakhar Dubey from Bal Bharati Public School, Gangaram Hospital, Mark. My question is addressed to Jyoti sir. So, how do you think the newly developed Neuralink chips created by the company Neuralink will be altering or improving the neurophysiology of the human brain? Can it really impact a person's creative and intellectual abilities? Thank you.
it's a very good question, and again, see, neural chips, what they are doing, let's take a look at it. They are just picking up the signals from the brain and sharing it with the computing system, computer, mobile phone, something, right? That's what they're doing. So when you say, can they make us more intelligent? I don't think so. Because the intelligence that is there in a plant or a tree, which makes it a tree from a seed, that intelligence is not dependent on its communication with anything outside. In fact, trees do not commit suicide. They have less depression problems. That intelligence is working on them. So think over it a little deeply, whether it's going to make us more intelligent or not. Yes. But we were talking about the physically challenged people or any kind of disabilities that are there. It may help there. The sensors that we were talking about, we already have applications of that. For example, some paraplegic patient, if they want to think of water, the water can come on the screen. That is already a technology that's possible. You can just put some sensors, and by that, your brain signals can be picked up. You're feeling thirsty, and somebody can be signaled on your mobile phone that, "Bhai, isko pani do aap." Ye sambhav hai. But intelligence, I'm not so sure. Enablement to certain of the tasks is possible.
कहते हैं ना कि technology is a useful servant but very dangerous master as well. So you all have to keep on thinking. Who is going to ask next question?
A very energetic morning to one and all present here. This is Srishti Kalra from Himalaya Public Senior Secondary School. So my question is from Himanshu Gupta sir. Sir, nowadays people are talking about climate change in different conferences and summits. But all these things are just written and they are not being implemented. So can you suggest some practical ways such that they can be implemented by a common man?
I think there are a lot of ways through which it can be done by a common man. Number one, whenever you are going out and suppose the distance is limited, आपको कुछ घर की grocery खरीदने जाना है, तो if you can avoid your car or your scooter and go by walk or a cycle, that can, it's a sustainable way. You are saving the fuel also and you are improving your health also. Similarly, segregation of waste at home, that is one way of that we were discussing, that the things that are going that are recyclable, they are kept separately, and the ones which are compostable, they are kept separately. Basic things, that sustainable use of all your resources, like at home, switching off lights in your room when you are not using that room is not being used. Using ACs or coolers to the minimum, if required, only then they are used. That if it is very hot, only then you are using your geysers only for limited time. Using water properly, like sometimes you just keep on your the tap is open for longer time, or you use shower for a longer time. So you can save a lot of resources if you do these basic minimum changes in your life. And if a person does it, then the whole family will do it, then the entire society will do it. And you can see that many cities, the European cities like Denmark and all, 30% of the people travel through cycle. Even though in India the weather obviously does not support that, especially in summers, people would not prefer moving on streets or using cycles. But there are a lot of months we can use these mode of transport, and then public transport. If we increase the use of public transport in society, then a lot of changes can come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. I think
one more thing to all the students: wastage of food. That is also one thing that all of us must realize, that we must not waste our food. Whatever is given by our family or our parents for lunch, or you get anything in midday meal, you should eat it fully. So you should not waste that food. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will do it. So we need to set an example for others. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Who wants to ask the next question?
Good morning, respected dignitaries. I am Arsh Sefi from Rajki Pratibha Vikas Vidyalaya, Yamuna Vihar, and my question is for Jyoti sir. I want to know how art and design is closely related to each other, as both the practices requires a creative approach by the artist or the designer. Thank you.
That's again a very important question. If you want to pursue your career in design, there is an artistic ability that gets into it, because the science helps you analyze the problem that you find around, but you require an artistic bend of mind, especially the creative aspect of your mind, the right brain thinking, for you to come up with solutions. Like I see a lot of artwork in this room. So somebody would have thought about it, imagined creatively that this is the way room could be. So in design also we require that. Whoever has designed a product, they require to make this 2 + 2 5, in their imagination. So that ability becomes useful in design. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I just realized that I was giving long answers and it has taken longer than you planned, so I'm trying to keep it short. Yeah.
बट सर अच्छा जा रहा है, बच्चों की सारी जिज्ञासाओं का समाधान हो रहा है इससे बेहतर कुछ हो नहीं सकता। मैं अभी इसने जो सवाल पूछा उसके जवाब में बस एक ही चीज़ कहना, सर ने तो बहुत चीज़ें बताई, बट मैं हिमांशु सर से रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि हमारे बच्चों को भी ना आईआईटी में कम से कम एक बार घूमने का मौका अगर मिलेगा, क्योंकि जब हम ज्योति सर से मिलने वहाँ पे गए थे तो डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिज़ाइन का बोर्ड देख के हमारे मन में भी यही सवाल आया था। हमें लगता था कि डिज़ाइन कैसे इंजीनियरिंग का एक पार्ट है, और सर के लैब में जाके वहाँ पर बैठ के बहुत अच्छी एरोमेटिक खुशबू और सर का ग्राउंडेड एकदम बिहेवियर, हम लोगों को इतने वेलकम करना, और वहाँ से पता लगा कि हमारी ज़िंदगी आसान कैसे बन रही है। इतनी माइन्यूट चीज़ें जिसके बारे में हमने कभी सोचा ही नहीं, उस लैब से होके आ रही थी। तो हु इज़ गोइंग टू आस्क नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन?
Good morning, everyone. I am Parisha Midha from Adarsh Public School, and my question is for Himanshu sir. Sir, what do you think about standardized evaluation, and what do you feel is the best and the effective way to judge the learnings of the students?
Standardized evaluations, I personally feel that we must have formative assessment rather than a summative assessment where you judge a child at the end of the year. Rather than having that end-term examination, we must have, monthly or bi-monthly assessments of whatever a child is learning. And it's very important to assess properly what a child, the assessment should be competency-based. It should not be rote-based assessment. And as if you talk about standardized, see, what the challenge in our country is that we have so many aspirants and limited number of seats for some of the iconic institutions, and that is why they are forced to conduct some sort of standardized examinations where toppers are given the opportunity to study in some of those institutions. But I personally feel that each and every child has some innate qualities in him or her, and even if somebody is not able to get through those standardized examinations, life gives you a lot of opportunities in various fields. I have so many friends who are not from IIT, who are from Delhi College of Engineering, from IP College, and later they did so well in their lives. Some of them are in fact have their own companies. They have become big entrepreneurs. So it's just that if you have that learning, or that if you have those competencies in you, it need not be that if you don't crack that examination, then that competency is lost. So you will be given opportunity by life to in life to perform well wherever you go. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So this program is live, and we have our online viewers who are also asking questions. So this is one question from our online viewer. What was your favorite moment or experience in your own education? This question is from Karanpreet Singh from Adarsh Public School. Your favorite moment or experience in your own education while you were a student?
It's not working. Hello. Yeah. favorite moment in my own student experience, it is always related to some teacher who gives you personal attention. And that's what I felt, like some teacher who approaches and then you suddenly feel that I am important, I matter, and there's somebody who's concerned about me. So I think it's more about that when one of the teachers invited me to his home, and I didn't know what. He served food, and he just sat down, discussed, and then said it was nice talking to you. I said, what was that? I mean, there's no outcome, there is nothing, you know. But why did he? But it was a very nice gesture. So I think that is what we enjoy. That was my favorite moment, I'll say. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So who wants to ask question from here? Okay.
Firstly, a very warm greetings to both the dignitaries. I am Diksha Garg from Leelavati Vidya Mandir School. And on listening from Jyoti sir about neuroscience and reading his study history in neuroscience, I would be enlightened to hear that how did you enter this arena of yogic neuroscience? And would you like to give any message about this beautiful practice, or as I can say, field to us?
Yeah, I've been recently started doing some research and I've published a few papers related to yogic neuroscience, and I'm pretty excited because, and thank you for this question. I tried to answer earlier also a part of this, but in interest of time, and I would love to talk to you personally if you're interested, come to our lab and we can sit down and have a chat. But just to give you a little see, world today has not fully understood everything, you know, we are still exploring, and that's where I felt saturated with the modern ways of looking at life, and I started looking into yogic texts and reading Upanishads, and that was, as I said, I have interest in reading lots of books, and this kind of text really appealed to me, and I felt there was so much of knowledge in this part of the world which has not become part of the main curriculum. So I've been trying to do research, and I'm finding extraordinary knowledge there. So even related to brain sciences, the way our yogis thought about it, so their model of human anatomy and physiology overlaps and extends our present understanding of human physiology and anatomy. The way we understand of the organism as a combination of organs, and there is a neuron system, but then they could talk about it, the layer behind it, you know, when they call it as pranas and pranic forces working, and there's a relationship between our breath forces and the way our prana works in our body and our feeling of well-being and our feeling with world and technology and everything else. And it is becoming more relevant to today's world because we're using too much of this part of the brain, you know, the one which is engaging with technology, with the lower brain which is with your intuition, with your sense of self, with your sense of happiness, that we're using less and less. And that's going to affect to our overall happiness, overall feeling of our life itself. Because life has an end, you know. No, you haven't met anybody 200 years old, right? Which means people who are there 200 years old are gone. So everybody is going to shed this physical body. And everybody has to be enabled to live for about 100 years. And that's what we give education for. That how do you live your 100 years very well without damaging much planet, etc. So yogic framework of looking at life extends this. And it makes us realize that life is not just this that we see. There is a living force which is operating on the material thing. And so when we are trying to understand that part of the brain, that part of the life, and it's a very interesting topic. It is not much explored within the sciences. And unfortunate part is the Western world is doing more research than us. The Harvard and Stanford is doing more research than, because we are still struggling. Post-independence, we are trying to find somehow enough for every individual to survive. That has been the struggle for our independent India. But now I think that we have a little bit of comfort. I mean, nobody's dying of hunger as such. I mean, none of us are worried about that. It's more about Maruti or Mercedes, right? So we can probably take a little time out and reflect that, is this all about life? Which our ancient Indians did. And we were the leaders in the world. We didn't spend so much of time on material. And even today, I see a lot of people in IT companies in Bangalore, the moment they get a little bit of salary, they go back to their villages. And that trend is happening. And they're exploring the self more. There's something in genetics of this part of the land, I think. So there are frameworks is what we are exploring and trying to use electroencephalography, heartbeat variabilities with different kinds of stimuli and different kinds of practices. Certain yogic practices, how does it affect the functioning of the body itself, at a physical level, at a mental level. Those are some things we are exploring.
Yes, so it would be a goal for our future, like for me especially, to explore more about this. I would be grateful.
Please come. Let me know your contacts and then I will be happy to have you. In fact, I encourage young kids to come to our lab. Just see for yourself. I mean, explore it.
Thank you so much, sir.
If agreed, sir, we will organize a visit of all the students to your lab.
Sure.
We will organize Directorate of Education.
Thank
sir.
you,
Sure,
sir.
sir.
जोरदार तालियां. तो
और सर मैं इनके ऊपर भी EG डाल के चेक करके आपको बताऊंगा.
सर के यहाँ लैब है जहाँ पे ब्रेन की मैपिंग होती है, तो हम लोग वहाँ एंटर नहीं कर रहे थे, हम बाहर ही रह गए थे. तो अगला सवाल कौन पूछना चाहेगा? जी.
Good morning, Himanshu sir and Jyoti sir. I am Rudra Kumar of GD Goenka Public School, Sector 10, Dwarka. So my question is to you, Jyoti sir, that research is not only time consuming and needs extensive efforts, but at the same time, it is not very pocket friendly. So what is your advice to a youngster like me who is keen to take it up as a career?
First of all, congratulations to you and your parents that you're interested in research and looking forward. And I think research is not done, it happens. You're curious, you're inquisitive. It's true, research is expensive. And that's where we are not able to do as much research as we would like to do in our country. We are not able to facilitate because of budget constraints and all of that. But the rewards are very deep. And the biggest reward is for yourself as a person. I mean, when you study something, when you solve a problem, you're lost in it, right? That joy of finding something, that is a salary in itself. That's a satisfaction in itself. So if you have that kind of a bend of mind for research, it will find its own way out. So, I mean, a lot of thinking about, I mean, you're saying as a career, how will I prosper? I think it's very difficult to define depending on which area of research you're going. Some of the research areas are very well paying today. And some of the research areas are just because of pure inquisitiveness of the researcher. But in both cases, it's about your questions. What are your research questions? So when people approach us for PhD or for any other proposal, we say, what is it that you want to study? So if you have that, rest, it finds a way. I mean, you have to have that trust. That's a trust I wanted to share with all of you, that once as a student, you have something that you want to do, just trust that. When we were born, we didn't know where we'll get our food from. We have got it, we have survived, right? So if you have something within you that you're pursuing, just follow that. I mean, that's what I tried to do, and I think things are happening for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll quickly move on to our next question.
A very pleasant good morning to my both dignitaries. I am Uma Habiba of RPVV Karolbagh. My question is to हिमांशु सर. सर, जब मैं 10th क्लास में आई थी तो मेरे को बहुत सारे इनपुट्स मिल रहे थे रिगार्डिंग व्हाट टू डू व्हाट नॉट. सर, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा कंफ्यूज हो जाती हूँ कभी कभी, और मुझे लगता है ये कंफ्यूजन में बहुत सारे बच्चों को होती है. तो सर, मेरे जैसे बच्चों के लिए आप क्या एडवाइस देना चाहेंगे? थैंक यू.
देखिए, जो सब्जेक्ट्स आपको पसंद है, जो चीज़ें आपको अच्छी लगती हैं, उनको आप ज़्यादा पढ़ो, उनको डीप में पढ़ो. आप ऐसा मत सोचो कि मार्क्स ज़्यादा आने से या नंबर ज़्यादा आने से कुछ होगा. आपको जो चीज़ पसंद है, सपोज कौन सा सब्जेक्ट पसंद है आपको?
सर, साइंस.
साइंस. सो आप साइंसेज में भी फिज़िक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायो, विच साइंस, मतलब कौन सा सब्जेक्ट ज़्यादा पसंद है?
बायोलॉजी.
हाँ, सो यू फोकस ऑन बायोलॉजी. आपको बायोलॉजी पसंद है तो केमिस्ट्री भी अच्छी लगेगी. सो आपको जो सब्जेक्ट पसंद आता है, यू जस्ट कीप ऑन डूइंग इन दैट. अगर आपको लगता है कि ठीक है, यू वांट टू बी अ डॉक्टर, आप नीट का एग्ज़ाम भी दें, बट ऐसा स्टक भी नहीं होना है कि मुझे तो नीट नहीं निकला तो मेरी लाइफ ख़त्म हो जाएगी. आपको बायो में इंटरेस्ट है, प्योर साइंसेज में, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ ऑप्शंस. आप बीएससी भी कर सकते हैं. आप और भी कोर्सेज़ हैं बहुत सारे जो साइंसेस के अंदर अवेलेबल हैं, वहाँ भी जा सकते हैं. बट ये कभी नहीं सोचना ये कोर्स ज़्यादा अच्छा है, ये कोर्स ख़राब है. प्रॉब्लम क्या होती है सोसाइटी के अंदर कि हम ये सोचते हैं कि अगर किसी ने साइंस का स्टूडेंट ने MBBS किया तो वो ज़्यादा अच्छा है और किसी ने BSc किया वो ख़राब है। ऐसा नहीं है। वेंकट रमन साहब थे, हाँ, मतलब जो आपने नाम सुना होगा, या जितने भी हमारे देश के साइंटिस्ट रहे हैं बायोलॉजी या मतलब किसी भी प्योर साइंसेस के अंदर, उन सब ने BSc किया, फिर MSc किया, फिर PhD किया। आज के टाइम पे IISCs है, IISCRs हैं, कोई दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी है, सब जगह आपको बेसिकली ये क्लियर होना चाहिए कि आप जो कर रहे हो उसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट है। एंड देन देर आर सो मेनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ फॉर यू डू बैचलर्स, मास्टर्स, PhDs। और आपको अगर जॉब करने का लगता है कि थोड़े टाइम बाद जॉब करना है, जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ भी बहुत सारी हैं। आजकल तो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, आप जैसे बिजनेस ब्लास्टर्स भी प्रोग्राम आप देख रहे हैं, कितने सारे आइडियाज़ पे बच्चे खुद अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स बना रहे हैं, खुद अपनी कंपनीज़ बना रहे हैं। सो अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आर ह्यूज। इट्स जस्ट कि आपका उसमें इंटरेस्ट होना चाहिए और आपके अंदर लगन होनी चाहिए कि आपको उसी फील्ड में काम करना है।
थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।
ज्ञान प्राप्त करने की उत्सुकता और जिज्ञासा आपसे आपकी योग्यता सुदृढ़ बनती है। तो हु इज गोइंग टू आस्क नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन?
Good morning everyone, and I am Jyoti Kumar from Tagore International School east of Kailash, and my question is to both the dignitaries. Why do you think India can't produce many MNCs to compete at the global level? And what change can we bring in our educational system to promote entrepreneurship among individuals? Thank you.
But I don't agree with your question. I mean, India is producing a lot of MNCs of international. In fact, in the international competition, you look at the recent news, Indians have been doing very good. But coming back to the second question, that what can we do to promote more entrepreneurship? Recently, there was a publication in Nature, one of the highest level journals in the world, which has brought out carbon nanotubes in the swords made in India and exported to Middle East and through that to Europe. So the production facilities of India and the innovations in designs and technology was the best in the world. We lost it because of the movements that happens in history, we are all helpless, right? And we can get it back. It's all about building that confidence, as sir a while ago was sharing. No, if you're confident that this is what I want to do, and you're clear, of course it's hard work. There is no shortcut. But today, the government systems are enabling students and everybody to become good innovators and good entrepreneurs. The ecosystem is there. Socio-cultural mindsets have been a challenge. We are still looking for an early comfort in life. We're still not enabling through the society the individuals to take risks. So that factor is there a little bit, but individuals are doing great. I mean, sir told you about many unicorns coming out of India. Probably we are one of the top in the world in terms of creating entrepreneurs. Of late, if you look at the trend. So let's not think about it at all, that we cannot produce those MNCs. They are there already. So this question maybe 20, 30 years ago could have been a question to be debated, discussed. Today it's no more a question, is my position. And I may be wrong.
I'll tell you, obviously India is producing a lot of unicorns, and especially in the field of IT. As far as why some of the Western countries are, especially majority of the people moving to US is concerned, एक रीज़न उसका ये हो जाता है कि मार्केट वहाँ की सबसे बड़ी है, isn't it? जहाँ पे मार्केट सबसे बड़ी होगी, US की आपको पता है पूरे अक्रॉस द ग्लोब अगर आप GDP लेंगे तो कितना % US का GDP है? अराउंड 25%. सो सिमिलरली चाइना का भी अभी काफ़ी ज़्यादा हैवी हो गया है. तो जहाँ पे ज़्यादा मार्केट होगी, ऑब्वियसली कंपनीज़ भी वहाँ ज़्यादा होंगी, पेइंग कैपेसिटीज़ वहाँ लोगों की ज़्यादा होगी. अगर एलन मस्क टेस्ला बना रहा है कार्स, अगर वो इंडिया में सेल करेगा वो लिमिटेड सेल कर पाएगा, अगर वो यूएस में सेल करेगा वो ज़्यादा कर पाएगा. बट इंडिया का आप जैसे देखेंगे कि जहाँ भी आउटसोर्सिंग आईटी के अंदर स्पेशली हम बात करें, we are perhaps number one in providing the quality as well as the cost for any services. हम फ्रेश वर्क्स का अगर आपने नाम सुना हो, मातृभूषण जी के बारे में आप ज़रूर पढ़िएगा. He did his engineering from, I think, down south. He started his company in Tamil Nadu, and उनकी कंपनी जो है वो सॉफ्टवेयर एज अ सर्विस प्रोवाइड करती थी, एंड नाउ इट हैज़ बिकम अ $10 billion कंपनी एंड दे गॉट रजिस्टर्ड ऑन नैस्डैक. उन्होंने अपनी कंपनी को नैस्डैक पर रजिस्टर किया यूएस में. सो एंड यू फाइंड इन एवरी फील्ड, ओयो और ओला, in any field, Flipkart, Bansals, so many entrepreneurs are coming in our society. But yes, there is again huge scope. We have done a lot in IT sector. In manufacturing sector, perhaps we need more unicorns and startups, because in our country to develop more in manufacturing sector, you require a lot of capital investments. That is also now being funded by venture capitalists. And as far as developing the entrepreneurship culture in schools is concerned, we started a Business Blasters program. So the idea of Business Blasters program was this only, that students start learning about entrepreneurship right from school age, and they are able to take risks. They are able to ask their parents that I really want to do something on my own. Right from in graduation, every college is having entrepreneurship development cell. Almost every
School east of Kailash, and my question is to both the dignitaries present here. It is said that people who are perfectionists often tend to get into too much detail on things. So, sir, what do you think are the disadvantages of being a perfectionist?
I don't think there is a disadvantage of it. I mean, you will take a little bit more pain in your life, but you will reap more fruits. So being a perfectionist, I think, is a great thing. I mean, if you have that eye for detail and you want to be, you work more on yourself, and that's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you have to choose your path, right? I mean, and there are multiple ways of solving this. Some people are perfectionists, like they plan in detail and then they execute. Some people are perfectionists in the sense that they want to experiment, explore, and then come to realization. Personalities are different. But being a perfectionist, I think, is a great thing. There's no harm in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a perfectionist, there's no harm in it. In administration, however, we sometimes have to, kind of, what should I say? We have to, due to time constraints, perhaps we have to somehow settle for suboptimality also. And but if it's always the best pieces, the best masterpieces are created only by perfectionists. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Being perfectionist is also a art of life. बहुत सारी चीज़ें निकल के आती हैं. सवाल हमारे पास बहुत सारे हैं और ये सिलसिला लंबा चलने वाला है, तो मुझे लगता है समय की बाध्यता को देखते हुए बाकी क्वेश्चंस जो हैं हम किसी और माध्यम से उसके आंसर्स की तलाश करेंगे. आपने हमसे वादा किया था कि आप हर सवाल का जवाब अपनी वेबसाइट के माध्यम से देंगे, तो आपके पास मैं सारे सवाल भेजूंगा.
बहुत ही ब्रिलियंट क्वेश्चंस हमारे बच्चों ने पूछे हैं, और सर ये हमारे 15 डिस्ट्रिक्ट के गवर्नमेंट प्राइवेट एडेड स्कूल के छात्र हैं जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट से आए हैं यहाँ. तो और हमारे पीछे भी राइट और लेफ्ट में कुछ छात्र हैं. मैं उसी के लिए आया हूँ कि उनके लिए भी एक क्वेश्चन वो भी सर से पूछ सकते हैं, हमारे डायरेक्टर सर से, और प्रोफेसर ज्योति कुमार सर से भी पूछ सकते हैं उनके हॉबीज़ के बारे में, खेल के बारे में, या आपके मन में कोई हो तो आपके लिए 1 मिनट. जो बच्चे यहाँ बैठे हैं, तो प्यारे बच्चे, आप डायरेक्टर सर से पूछ सकते हैं. जो पीछे छात्र है, कोई भी एक हाथ रेज करे अगर किसी के मन में सर के हॉबीज़ के बारे में, एजुकेशनल जर्नी के बारे में अगर पूछना है तो कोई भी पूछ सकते हैं. इवन दो टीचर आल्सो, आई ओपन आल्सो द वन क्वेश्चन फॉर जो बैठे टीचर है उनसे भी. तो कोई टीचर पूछना चाहेगा? स्टूडेंट, यस, एनी क्वेश्चन आपके मन में है? चलो आइए. हाँ, यस, ओके.
A very warm good morning to the dignitaries, respected Director Sir, Jyoti Sir. It's an honor to be here. I am Kiran Sharma, lecturer English from School of Excellence, Khichadipur. And my question is to both of you, because both of you are from the education arena. There is a lot of violence going on, and children are not accepting human values or not treating even their parents or teachers or co-students the way they should. So as a teacher, what should I do, or what should a teacher community do to control these violent acts in school, apart from teaching my own subject? I'm so sorry if the question doesn't, affect everybody, but I'm facing these problems. So how to curb violence in schools?
So there'll be two parts, of course. I'll bring what I'm trying to do, and Sir can tell you more from the administrative perspective. So this is a very important question you've raised. I think we should have a meeting of all the teachers maybe and discuss this, what we can do, because and as a researcher, my understanding is the individuals who are making those decisions are because of a certain way in which they are thinking about things, and everything is playing a role in it. The setup, so concrete structures are making people more agitated, and that's one thing that earlier I discussed, biophilic environments make us most. So if people are living in, say, jungles, their mind functions different, or in hills, and when you come to there. So kids are also getting affected by that. Second is the too much of information consumption from various media that is keeping the mind agitated continuously. So sit down and reflect is not happening. What I try to do before beginning of the class, and there is good research papers available for it, is 5 minutes of silence time. So everybody comes in the class, okay, we'll sit for meditation, just observe your breath. Very simple, just observe your breath. How the breath is going to the body. And same thing at the end of the class, we'll sit for 5 minutes. It has, of course it doesn't transform everything, but if the school education could include a little bit of these practices, maybe meditation practices also, maybe there could be a class where students could be taught about meditation, calming oneself down. I have tried, it works for me is what I wanted to share.
I was about to say the same thing. We all know that mindfulness in this happiness curriculum also, we for first 5 minutes we do mindfulness in our schools daily morning, and I think that is really very important. That's why we are tying up with so many institutes. We recently had with Daji had come, Heartfulness Institute, and then with Brahma Kumaris also we have tied up. We are tied up with other institutes. The idea is that our teachers also learn these things of how to remain calm. If our teachers remain calm, that calmness will automatically flow to the students also. And I think having that 5 minutes of meditation in morning, of mindfulness breathing, where you just आपको करा सुबह करा you आप क्लास टीचर होंगे तो आप करते होंगे बाहर की आवाज़ सुनना, अंदर की आवाज़, सांस लेना. That has a huge impact. And I also personally I do meditation, so I know how calming it has effect it has on the body and on your mind. So I think we all must try to calm down our students, and that also helps in digital detoxification. The digital detox is also important. So that ways, when you are on your own, you are sitting, you are breathing, and you are just on your own, that has a huge impact on the child. So that is one way. Apart from that, interacting with students, identifying those students who you feel are initially having violent behavior, and then talking to them, making them sit in groups, and then trying to identifying the issues and talking to their parents, that also has an impact. Thank you. Thank you.
बहुत ही सुंदर सर ने आपने सिंपल लैंग्वेज में जो आंसर दिया है, मुझे लगता है टीचर कम्युनिटी के लिए ये बहुत ही प्रेरणादायी है. और मेरे राइट हैंड में भी कुछ छात्र हैं और टीचर बैठे. अब उनके लिए है कि कोई हॉबीज़, खेल या इसके बारे में भी आपके मन में कोई सवाल हो बच्चों के मन में, तो उनके लिए भी एक मौका है. कोई है तो हैंड रेज करें. हाँ बेटे, वेरी गुड.
Greetings everyone. I am Kavya Varandani from Bal Bharti Public School, Gangaram Hospital, Marg, and my question was for Jyoti sir. Sir, you mentioned being a facilitator in the educational setup. How have you worked cross-functionally with different stakeholders like students, analysts, and your technical team to avoid conflict?
To avoid conflict while becoming a facilitator?
Yes, sir.
But I don't see a conflict there, because as a teacher, when I'm interacting with you as a student, I'm allowed to create my plan of the course. So I can choose to encourage you as a student to explore certain things, and then I work with you in discovering that, more than me telling you that this is the truth. I mean, that's what the facilitator role means. So there is no conflict anywhere. Is there?
Sir, disagreement of ideas.
Oh, fantastic. Now I get the point. Okay. This is a beautiful point you're raising. In fact, what ma'am was saying earlier, you're saying they're somewhere related. Violence source is disagreement. And the acceptance that there will always be disagreement. In fact, you should be scared if there is no disagreement.
Yes.
Disagreements are beautiful, because it means you have one way of looking, I have another way of looking. Why do I have to prove that my way is right and your way is wrong? In fact, most of the marriage problems begin here. When we do not see that there could be multiple rights, and everybody has to accept. And this is the land which has taught the world for more than 5,000 years of history now, that there are multiple ways of being right. So this is beautiful, because education today is shifting, and in fact entrepreneurship के ऊपर भी हम discuss कर रहे थे. One of the problems is this only, that I am telling the student how you should think. How will you become an entrepreneur? But at the same time, when I'm encouraging to become an entrepreneur, and if I'm running a course where I'm encouraging entrepreneurship, I will disagree and criticize what you're saying. But the disagreement is not to prove I am right, but that is to bring out the next potential in you. I mean, more of a positive criticism, you know. So these are words, but the intent here is that I never carry to the class. Sir said a very beautiful thing, that how the teacher by his or her presence is communicating that. And sometimes students are the right teachers. You can teach me also. All of us are teachers in some way. So we are by our presence communicating that. And that is not to do as much with the language, it is to do with the intent which comes through. So that understanding that I cannot always be right, number one. Number two, there are multiple rights. And number three, I have the right to disagree with you and tell you frankly, and you have the right to disagree with my disagreement. And we can happily live together. I mean, that's what the conflict you're saying. This is the attitude problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, children. And अगर आज का कार्यक्रम आपको पसंद आया तो एक बार अपनी जगह पर खड़े होकर जोरदार तालियां हमारे दोनों डिग्निटरीज के लिए, जोरदार. थैंक यू. प्लीज़ बी सीटेड. एंड जिन बच्चों के क्वेश्चंस हम आज नहीं ले पाए हैं, सर ने जैसा प्रॉमिस किया है, हम सर को भेजेंगे और सर हमें ज़रूर आंसर करेंगे उन क्वेश्चंस का. And now for the vote of thanks, I would now like to invite our respected DD Exam Branch NILP, Sanjay Subhas sir. Gratitude is a powerful catalyst for happiness. It's the spark that lights a fire of joy in our soul. The more grateful I am, the more beauty I see.
तो मैं सोच रहा था कि धन्यवाद की शुरुआत तालियों की जोरदार गड़गड़ाहट के साथ करूंगा. इसके पहले ही आप लोगों ने खड़े होके ताली बजा दी है, तो आप लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. तो सर्वप्रथम मैं सर का धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा कि हमारे डी सर ऐसे हैं जिनके व्यक्तित्व में वो छाप है, जिनसे आप हर समय कुछ ना कुछ सीख सकते हैं. अपना कीमती समय कैसे देना है, कब देना है, कहाँ देना है, सर को बहुत अच्छे से आता है. और ये चीज़ आपको भी सुनना है, देखना है और समझना है. सर के साथ सर जुड़े हैं ज्योति सर, जो IITN हैं और एक प्रोफेसर भी हैं, लेकिन उनकी सिंपलिसिटी देखिए. ये कभी ऐसी फील नहीं आ रही है कि हम एक IITN और एक प्रोफेसर साहब से बात कर रहे हैं. थ्री इडियट्स के सिनेमा को देखते हुए एक प्रोफेसर की जो भूमिका दिखती है और वहाँ पर सर की भूमिका को देखिए, आपको कैसी डिफरेंस नज़र आती है। तो सवाल उठता है कि इन सवालों से जो आप सवाल उठा रहे हैं, ये हमें एक सीखने का मार्गदर्शन देती है, और वो मार्ग जो है कैसे सीखना है वो हमें सिखाती है। तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप दोनों डिग्निटरी का, और जो इतना अच्छा समय हमें दिया और इतने सिंपल चीज़ों से बात करते हुए आपने हमें बताया, इसके लिए तहे दिल से धन्यवाद। इस डिस्ट्रिक्ट की डीडी नीलम मैम आई हुई हैं और राजेश्वरी मैम हैं, जो दोनों ने पूरे समय यहाँ पर रहकर हम सबों को मार्गदर्शन दिया, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। ओएसडी साहब हैं पांडे जी, वो भी यहाँ पर हैं और हमेशा सभी कार्यक्रमों में साथ देते हैं। साथ ही साथ एडिशनल मैम इधर आ गई हैं, मैंने देखा नहीं, सो सॉरी मैम, मैं आपको प्रोटोकॉल के अनुसार पहले बोलना था लेकिन मैं बात बोल रहा हूँ, क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ। तो जरीन ताज मैम है जो कि साइंस ब्रांच और बहुत सारे ब्रांचों को देखती हैं, उन्होंने भी अपना समय दिया, इसके लिए धन्यवाद। साइंस ब्रांच के डीडी साहब जो बीच में दौड़ के आ जाते थे, जो हमेशा गाइड कर रहे थे, गायकवाड़ साहब, मैं आपका भी धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा। दुबे साहब जो NILP भी देखते हैं, साइंस ब्रांच भी देखते हैं, साइंस क्वेस्ट भी देखते हैं, नई उड़ान की जो मैगजीन छपती है वो सारी चीज़ें देखती हैं, और साथ ही साथ हमारी नई उड़ान की पूरी टीम जो सजग यहाँ बैठी हुई है, और कोई कैमरा से लगे हुए हैं, कोई बैठ के कुछ प्लानिंग सोच रहे हैं कि नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम को कैसे करना है, तो वो टीम का भी तहे दिल से धन्यवाद। और इस स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल साहब सत्यवान जी, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, जो हर समय आप DOE के कोई भी कार्यक्रम के लिए अपना वेन्यू हमें देते हैं, बहुत ही धन्यवाद। CTB से महेंद्र जी आए हुए हैं और उनकी टीम जो ये सारे अरेंजमेंट उन्होंने किया है, तहे दिल से महेंद्र जी धन्यवाद CTB टीम को लिए भी। और सबसे बड़े धन्यवाद तो आप स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो विभिन्न स्कूलों से आए हैं, अपना समय ही नहीं दिया, सवालों के झड़ी लगा दी, और इन सवालों से कई रूपरेखा और भी तैयार हो जाएगी कि और क्या करना है आगे। तो इन सभी चीज़ों के साथ इतने अच्छे कार्यक्रम करने के लिए दोनों एंकर भावना मैम और नील साहब, आप सबों का तहे दिल से धन्यवाद। धन्यवाद टू ऑल सर, थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। हमारा ये कार्यक्रम लाइव चल रहा था और दिल्ली के बहुत सारे स्कूल हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, वो बच्चे भी इस कार्यक्रम को लगातार देख रहे हैं, उन सभी स्कूलों को भी इस मंच से धन्यवाद। और अंत में बस इतना ही कहना है कि एक नदी अपनी ताकत से नहीं बल्कि अपने लगातार प्रयासों के कारण चट्टान को काटकर अपना रास्ता बना लेती है। विद्यार्थियों के जीवन में अगर उन्हें सही मार्गदर्शन मिल जाता है तो सही दिशा में काम करने का उनका सामर्थ्य और बढ़ जाता है। जीवन में जिज्ञासाओं का शांत होना तो ज़रूरी है, लेकिन जिज्ञासा को कभी ख़त्म नहीं होने देना। इसी संदेश के साथ आपके ढेर सारे सवालों के साथ विजन क्वेस्ट के तीसरे एपिसोड में एक बार हम सभी लोग फिर मिलेंगे। तब तक के लिए टीम नई उड़ान को अनुमति दीजिए।
Let us all stand and proudly sing our national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा, तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा, जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
जिन बच्चों ने सवाल पूछे हैं जो यहाँ फर्स्ट 2 रोज में 1 मिनट के लिए जल्दी से स्टेज पर जाएंगे एक ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ के लिए, क्विकली। मेरी रिक्वेस्ट आदरणीय एडिशनल डायरेक्टर मैम जरीन ताज मैम से, डीडी साइंस सुधाकर गायकवाड़ सर से, डीडी एग्ज़ाम ब्रांच NILP संजय सुभाष सर से, डीडी डिस्ट्रिक्ट, डीडी जोन और प्रिंसिपल सर, OSD सर पांडे सर, OSD साइंस ब्रांच कुंदन दुबे सर, नई उड़ान टीम, सभी बच्चे बेटा आप लोग नीचे बैठ जाइए प्लीज़, आगे आ जाइए।